There's a third ingredient. You got to bless with words. There's different customs in different homes. Some people get up and go to their children's places. Others have their children come to them. Bear with me 1 second. Yes. Dealing with the whole blessing. One of the best examples of the fathers of Jewish people was Jacob. He had 12 sons who were to grow and become leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. The next youngest was Joseph, who had 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh.
I'm discussing
Manasseh?
No, that was Manasseh.
Manasseh? Okay. Before he died, he called the sons for this final blessing. And as a special reward to Joseph, who remained righteous throughout his whole ordeal of exile, he calls forward Joseph's 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. And he gives them a special blessing as well as 2 portions of the land of Israel. Here's what it says. On that day, Jacob blessed them and said, in time to come, Israel, the Jewish people, will use you as a blessing. They will say, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. This is Genesis 48:20. Jacob's blessing was that they should be a blessing, an example to the Jewish people for all time. From that day forward, they would become role models for Jewish children everywhere as they represented the qualities to emulate eternally. So what were these qualities? Ephraim and Manasseh were the first brothers amongst all of our forefathers in Jewish history to live without rivalry. They came before Isaac and Ishmael and Jacob and Esau, and of course Joseph's brothers who sold him as a slave. They were brothers who lived in harmony, and their life focus was the highest example, working for good in their community and people. The decisions were not based upon what is good for me, but on what is good for the Jewish people. Their concerns of ego were cast aside for something far greater. The words of King David ring true. How good and pleasant it is for brothers to sit peacefully together in Psalm 133:1. This is the hope that God holds for all his people. These words were spoken over these kids. It's important that we, with love and affection, speak. The third attribute, high value.
We're on 4.
No, that was part of 2. That was part of, the words were part of 2. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Part 3. High value. The third ingredient of the blessing is attributed to a high value. Notice how Isaac says in verse 28, may God give you heaven's dew and the earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. He's saying to him, you're special, so God will give you the best he has to give. We are consistently being told that we should teach our children to have a good, positive self-image, to build up their self-esteem. It is important to teach your child you're valuable, that God came after you into the world and he died for you on the cross. It's not just words. It's a high value in a number of ways. A lot of times when a child comes, we're busy. Listen. There are a few people that are busier than I am. This is an area that I struggle in because I can listen to 4 conversations at one time. My mind can be on 3 things at one time. I have been gifted to do multiple. I am an extreme multitasking person. But here's the downfall of being blessed in that area. Your kids run in and they have a blessing to share with you. And you don't focus and give them the time that they need. This third area is a huge downfall in my personal life. We have to be a blessing to our kids that they feel valued, that what they do is important, that what they achieve is important. This is so critical. There's times when people come, these little people come into our lives, and they've got this little nugget, this little jewel. Okay? They've got this little jewel, and we're too busy to acknowledge it. Building us a heartbeat. I guess they're building something next door. You and I need to look into people's lives and look for ways to make them feel valued. Not, the words and affection of the second point make them feel loved and accepted. But do we look for ways to go beyond that, to share with them and say, hey, God is going to do great things with you. Look how God has blessed you. This is an opportunity for you and I in our children's lives to point out the benefits of knowing this God, the benefits of serving God. Last night, I went to one of my daughter's concerts. And as with most young classical musical organizations, most of the people in the room are not American. They're Americans, but they're not white Americans. They're not WASP. They're not the average, French, Irish, German folks. The room was 3/4 Asian, Indian, Pakistani, Chinese, Japanese. I mean, totally different culture background. And I was marveling, this whole message incubating in my heart, looking at how these fathers elevated their kids with their musical talent. I was looking at how these kids had these phenomenal self-images of themselves. This I can't remember his name, but the Indian kid, the two brothers, Ashertal. Oh, you want to talk about healthy self-image? These kids were 7 and 11. And they did the Bach double suite together. Two little guys. Now they're stopping their feet like this, and their bows are like all over the place, and I'm like, whoa, wow. So a couple of these kids got up, and so it's like, they're not even 10. Off the chart, phenomenal. Wasn't a healthy self-image. They understood that what they had, whether, they might not be Christians, they could be Christians. I didn't get into that. Some of the parents were, that I was fellowshipping with, afterwards hanging out with. But there was this sense of God has blessed me. That's something that's passed on. When you're a dad, you need to, what your kids are good at, what your kids have discovered, the jewels of faith that they're unpacking, you need to impart in them a value to treasure. There's a group of kids that gotten to know through my kids. And these kids are graduating, the homeschool kids are graduating high school at 16, immediately going into Ivy League schools. They're not even studying music. There's a quality to their being. They are believers. There's a quality to their being that that they value themselves as children of God. Their identity is secure. Their image of who they are, the giftedness has been engrafted into them by their parents for how God wired them and blessed them. That's awesome. We need to do the same to our kids. If you're making disciples, and you all should be making disciples of people that are following after Christ, this is something that we have to transfer into our people that we're speaking into. That they have something. I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care how many times you've been broken. I don't care how many mistakes you've made. I don't care what sin that was overcoming in your life at one point in time. The fact is that if you're now a child of God, God has something of great value for you to become.